So my goal for the end of the year is 3 million in revenue. The Super Saiyan Sage mode version of content pillars or writing is knowing how to mix content pillars.
What are the content pillars?
So the content pillars,
It's obviously about skill, but it's also about...
swipe file is basically just a...
They said, how much practice or how long did it take you to get good at writing? Any tips or resources for someone learning to write better? I'm realizing I'm not that good at writing as I write more emails. To this, I said there's 6 stages to writing. So you know how when you start lifting, just like in the beginning, you don't really know what you're doing. And then it's like you kind of know, and then you do it, but you're fat, and then you want to lean down, and then you get body dysmorphia, and then you realize you're not as strong, and then you bulk up again, and you realize it's like you had the answer so long. So when writing comes, I said, there's 6 steps. So number 1, you're right. Number 2, you think you're awesome. Number 3 is you realize you're not that awesome. Number 4 is you copy others and get some success. Number 5 is you get tired of copying. And number 6 is you realize you were always good and sometimes you simply didn't feel like it. So when I write, it's often that Picasso said that his favorite works were the ones that he did in the beginning because he didn't have a lot of habits and just things that he used to do, and he was more free. And I think with writing, it's kind of like that. Like writing is more of like a source you tap into. Of course, it's a skill you develop, but sometimes you're just in it. You're just in it. So to me, writing is more, it's obviously about skill, but it's also about timing. If you're feeling it, that's when you should write. And even if you're not that experienced, you'll write some good stuff. But if I were to ask you, how much practice or how long did it take you to get good at writing? And any tips or resources for someone to learn to write better? What'd you say?
I think so. There's 2 answers to this question. I do believe that there are people who have a talent for writing off the rip. And I do think it can be trained. And I think there's 2 answers. Like for me, for example, I've personally been pretty good at writing. It's one of my strong suits since high school. My personality type's INFP. It's a writing. It's like meant to be a writer. Writing was always...
Seriously?
Yeah. INFP is what Shakespeare was. It was actually what Edgar Allan Poe was as well. Famous poet. So not only that, but I was also, my highest SAT grading was on the writing portion. And then after that, I started a blog when I was 18 years old. So I kind of have a lot of a writing experience before I came into ghostwriting at how old was I? 24. So I was like, I had many years of like pre-writing before all I had to do was then apply what JK had taught, which was thread writing, tweet writing, etc. So I already knew how to write in terms of, I had a really good vocabulary. And
what was that blog on?
My blog, it was myname.com. Doesn't exist anymore. It was myname.com, and it was basically just it was documenting my journey as an early entrepreneur while being in the military. And I started that blog right after I read Crushing It by Gary Vee, which was like, if you document your journey. Back then, documenting your journey was awesome, by the way. It's not a thing anymore, in my opinion. It's kind of outdated, but at the time, documenting your journey was very hot and it worked really well. So I was writing blogs like this is how I made, or this is the book I read today, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I would like auto link my Rich Dad Amazon associates and I'd make like 8 cents. So it was honestly pretty cool. So that's number 1. I do think people have a talent for it. 2 is I think it's learned like anything else over a long period of time of experience. And like, here's the story. I just recently started jujitsu. I've taken like maybe 6 or 7 classes now. And I've just been getting bodied. like I'll be rolling and I'm like, I'll be in a triangle choke from this little kid. And I'm just like, I can't believe a little kid has the power to like break my arm or choke me out. And I'm just like, holy, I don't know anything. But every class I learn something new and I add it to my toolbox. And it's just like writing, like as you do it over and over and you continue to learn and you go to, for example, you go to JK's email workshop and you pick up 1 call to action and 1 email. You add that to your toolbox. And then you write a week's worth of content on Twitter and you learn 1 thread that did better than the rest. And now you have a new hook, and over and over and over again. Eventually your toolbox is so strong where it becomes unconscious. And I was just showing JK, I'm actually creating a swipe file right now, a viral swipe file for you guys. And I was showing him and I was like, he's like, oh, bro, you still use swipe files? I was like, no, but when we started,
But it makes money.
no, yeah. I know you guys need it now. When we first when we first started, he even admitted it. We both use swipe files because when you're writing for a long time and you feel writer's block, nothing's better than pulling up a swipe file and you just get a spark and you're back. It's almost like drinking a cup of coffee when you're falling asleep. It's like if you pull up a swipe file when you have writer's block, you just get inspiration.
It's like I'll tell you an example.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was like 16 or 15 or 16, I went to Nicaragua. So I was playing volleyball there, and Nicaraguan accent is different from Guatemalan accent when it comes to Spanish. I can't do it anymore. But I was there for 1 week, and when I came back to Guate, I had the Nicaraguan accent, and my family was like, "You wanna be, dude? Like, what are you doing? Just stop! Like, please stop." But I couldn't. Like, it was just like a part of me, right? At that point, like 2 weeks in, like I removed it. That's kind of what swipe files are, because you immerse yourself in good writing. You see how good writing is done. And then when it's your time, you do it. There was a guy that copied The Great Gatsby, like word by word, because he wanted to get a feel of how good writing feels. And he wrote another book. Name misses me at the moment, but it's real. Swipe files help.
Yeah. And it's like, the swipe file is basically just a curated version of social media reading. It's like instead of scrolling a For You page and reading 90% shit, you kind of get 100% of heavy hitters, viral tweets, etc. One thing that Stephen King said in his book is On Writing. In that book, he says the best writers read. You have to read. And I think a swipe file is basically just a curation of reading the best tweets and threads and emails. So I think, there's something to be said for swipe files as a beginner because you just, like you said, you're just immersing yourself in what good writing looks like. You will absorb at least, some of that into your writing, and it'll be so much better.
You showed me something last night. We went out to dinner, and I said, Marcus, I need your help. My For You feed sucks. I need you to fix it for me. So Marcus pulls out my phone. He goes to the For You feed. I'm like, yeah, this is one of the posts that I consider sucks. And he just goes, here's what you do. Triple button at the top right, not interested in this post. And I did it for last night. So that's why I'm like kind of sleep deprived. And I have the eye bags because I was having a lot of fun, bro. I was like, oh my God.
Are you really?
I can actually do this. Yeah. So I slept super late last night. Yeah. So now my For You feed is way better. So if you're complaining about your feed being bad like I was, there's a button for that. It's not interested in this post button. And it only shows you good stuff. And if you engage with content that you want to see more of, like I'm a big anime guy, and I was liking the anime post. I see more of those. So then, like the swipe file is there. Another thing I do is I think about what are the best email marketers. Let's say I want to be better at email. This is something you could do too. I create an alternate account. So I have JK Molina 7492 at gmail.com, and I will subscribe to the best email marketers I know. And then I get all their emails to that alternate account. And it's like an ever self-building swipe file that I can consult at any time. It's really good for ideas.
I've been doing that for years.
It's awesome.
I have, yeah. I like when I first started, I would use my main email and then I would label it. So this is another thing you can do if you don't want to create an alternate. I would label them as inspiration. So anytime an email came from Dan Coe, JK, Eddie, it would all be labeled as inspiration. And it would automatically go to my inspiration folder. And I had an inspiration folder for that. Now I have the alternate. I have an alternate email. It's like a birdhouse email. And I just subscribe to newsletters. Cody Sanchez, Nick Huber.
Is like it mine? Do you have mine?
I actually just recently subscribed to yours after our conversation over coffee this morning when you were talking about how you're like using email for monetization. I subscribed this morning because one thing I love about your emails is they're so simple, and I hate newsletters. Newsletters. I'm so bearish on news. I tweeted this and it was controversial, and I talked about this in a previous episode, but I hate newsletters. I think they suck. I think nobody reads them. And it's funny because all the stats prove me wrong. I'm so stubborn. I'm like, nah, these suck. I hate them. It's a personal problem. I don't like reading newsletters. I'm more of a video consumer, but JK does emails very different than I would say the regular person. They're not even direct response. Like they are technically direct response emails, but they're so story driven. They're like story driven, case study driven, direct response. It's really cool. It's like a really good mixture, and it kind of embodies the advice that I try to give to people. Like when I always talk about the content pillars, I try to break it down, right? Like personal, expertise, social proof, etc. You can just look this up. I've talked about it so much. And one thing I talk about, the next level, that's kind of beginner level. Level 2, Super Saiyan 1 level, is like, you know how to mix those content pillars, because not everything is only going to be personal. Not everything's only going to be social proof, not anything, etc. Right? So if I want to talk about a trending topic, like if JK wants to talk about something's trending, like Zins, right? Zins are trending lately. I don't know if you know that. Zins are trending.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so Zins are trending, right? What if he wants to talk about Zins and then he wants to turn it into a story because we went on a walk this morning to go get Zins, and now it's a story. It's trending because he's using the SEO from the trending word Zins, and he can turn it into a case study and mix in results that he's got for someone and tie it all in. Now he's using 3 content pillars. So I think the Super Saiyan Sage Mode version of content pillars or writing is knowing how to mix content pillars for maximum effectiveness. And I think that's what you do well.
I want to transition to that. But before, I want to ask, what are the content pillars?
So the content pillars, and I think I've said them so much that I hope people give me credit. I've actually seen people write threads on them without giving me credit, but it's fine. So it's the P.E.S.T.O pillars.
How dare they, right?
Yeah, I don't really care. It's the P.E.S.T.O pillars.
How dare they?
So the P.E.S.T.O pillars are personal, expertise, social proof, trending, and opinions. Personal is your story, things about your life, etc. Expertise is, what's your expertise? You a guitar player? Write about how to play the guitar. If you make coffee, how do you make coffee? If you make cash, how do you make cash? Expertise. Social proof, case studies. You made $10,000 this month, etc. You're basically proving, like my theory on authority is that you're not an authority unless you prove it, right? How can you be an authority without proving it? See, thumbs up, likes ain't cash. T is trending. So trending is taking advantage of SEO. And you can do this on social media, you can do this on Google, but anything that's trending in terms of keywords. So right now, I don't know if you know this is trending, but Sydney Sweeney's trending. So that movie's coming out, Madam Web, on Valentine's Day, and she's trending because she was just on Hot Ones. And I know people listening will know what I'm talking about. So there's a meme going around of Sydney Sweeney.
Is it the blonde girl?
Yeah. So that meme's going around because it's trending, right? So if you write a tweet right now with Sydney Sweeney in it, you will get more traction than if you didn't, because it's SEO. Exactly. That's the meme. Right. Yeah. So
so I'm like, when she finds out that you focus on cash over likes.
Yeah. So, and you know, there is another pillar that I've thought about now, but I didn't include it. But no way. Oh,
your screensaver. Oh, we're still good. We're still recording. Well, now we know it's every 20 minutes.
It's every 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, guys. We got nervous. I actually like the podcast like this, like less. I think the pendulum swung, and I'll get back to the Sydney Sweeney thing. I swear. The pendulum, I think, is as much as it was towards like heavy production. I think this low production kind of favors us because, like I said, we're the Google Docs of podcasts.
That's right.
So the Sydney Sweeney thing. We both made a tweet with the Sydney Sweeney meme. My tweet was like, when you're telling her about the intricacies of your onboarding process to land the client's voice.
Such a fucking nerd.
So I think memes are like the hidden pillar, but I actually think memes are more trending than anything, and they're usually a mixture. Yeah. Memes are usually a mixture of trending and opinions, etc. So I usually keep it as like an honorable mention pillar. But anyway, P.E.S.T is trending and O is opinions. So trending is taking advantage of SEO. O is giving you raw opinions. And this one's so important for personal brands. Like JK does really well at this, right? Like his brand is literally an opinion. Like Saint Cash. Like it's a fact, but it's also like it's a controversial fact where it's like some people think you should give away everything for free and just build your brand, likes, and kind of build a big following. His whole mantra is an opinion that likes ain't cash, monetize from day one, right? So that's so important for building a personal brand. So those are the 5 pillars, P.E.S.T.O pillars. If you like pasta, you get it.